Are you tired of high-pressure tactics?
No, I'm not going to sign that. It's too much.
At Community Auto Group, you'll find we have a straightforward approach.
If other dealers have made you uncomfortable, give Community a try. You'll enjoy your experience here and find a straightforward deal that's right for you, not high-pressure tactics.
Community Auto Group, straightforward deals from the straightforward dealer.
Everybody. First of all, just follow up on James Morris and congratulate him on the honors and the Big Ten, all Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week, second time. I think we've had two other guys that had that same distinction, Bobineau and Adrian Claiborne, so that's pretty elite company there. Certainly happy for him. Captains are the same four guys. We've got James Morris, Chris Kirksey, and then Brett Van Sloten, Mark Weissman. And then injury-wise, Dom Alvis is still out, so he will not play Saturday. Everybody else should have a good chance to go, and we'll get back to work today. We got a big challenge on our hands, getting ready for Wisconsin, so we'll start that this afternoon. I'll throw it out for questions.
Going back to James Morris, I wonder if you could just sort of step back and talk a little bit about the evolution of his career. I mean, he's a kid. He comes in that Michigan State game as a true freshman, looks great, and then it's I don't want to say up and down, but he's been through a lot here. How rewarding is it to see him play the way he's playing?
Yeah, it was a Penn State game, national TV game, and the week before we went to Arizona, I believe, and he was third team going down there. Got moved up that week due to an injury, and found himself right in the middle of a nationally televised game. And I think I'm correct in saying we gave up 3 points that game when Tarp went out. He went in and did a great job, and heck of a way to start his career. And I got questioned somewhere in the last 6 months just regarding the down part of it, and I'm not sure. I must have slept through that part. I missed that part of his career. He's really he's fought some injuries behind the scene. If there's a down, that's a down. It's limited him a little bit, but that's like most players. Guy works extremely hard on the practice field. He's unbelievable in terms of his preparation away from the field and away from the building. And is a great leader, just a great role model for everybody on the football team. And then, a scary, smart student on top of it. Yet he's a normal guy, and I think that's why he's able to be a leader. And, we've had a lot of outstanding players come through here. And just as I mentioned, the two guys that have had multiple Big Ten Player of the Weeks. I think Claiborne's of special teams for one of the two. So, I mean, those guys are pretty good players. And I'm not saying, he's going to go to that level, but that's a pretty good club to be involved in there. Jonathan Bobineau still playing.
What about specifically with this season? What are you seeing in him now that might be different from before?
He's a more experienced player. That's the biggest thing, and that there's nothing like experience for guys that use it. And one thing about James Morris, I mean, anything he has, he'll use, and experience is a part of that. So some guys just kind of float through life. So experience isn't that big a deal, but that's not the case with him. He's pretty. One of those guys that goes back and reflects on everything, I think, and studies and improves from it. So he's just a heck of a football player. This is the year of the linebacker in the Big Ten, no question about that. We're getting ready to play against an outstanding player too. That's probably pretty similar in the way he's built and his mental makeup. But it's a lot of good linebackers in our conference this year.
Wisconsin seems to be about the same, even with the coaching staff.
Yeah, it's a little bit unusual in that we haven't played in a couple of years, so there's been a gap. We've been able to watch each other on film, I think, and certainly with the coaching change. So offensively, they look very similar, not identical, but very similar to what they've been doing, and for good reason. Then defensively, they did make a wholesale change there, and it's a very different team. They're a 34 team, which is unusual in college football, and they play it very well. I mean, the bottom line is both sides of the ball and their special teams are really well coached. They play hard. They're very disciplined as a football team, and I think that's been characteristic of their teams there for quite some time. And then if you go back and look at Utah State film, you see the same thing. I mean, those guys, it's interesting. They played at Wisconsin last September, I believe it was. And, it was a heck of a football game with two very, very good football teams playing, two very well-coached teams playing against each other. And it's kind of ironic now that Coach Anderson's there. coaching on the other sideline. But boy, they're very, very well coached.
Can you almost see Barry's fingerprints on it still, even though he's been removed now 2 coaches ago? It seems like the foundation he set there, some of the principles still exist.
I think that's fair, and but again, Barry was never a 34 guy, as I recall. But the bottom line is, I mean, I said this on the teleconference earlier when I left here in '89. That was a program for whatever reasons had fallen on hard times, and when I got back here 9 years later, it was the total opposite. They were at the top floor instead of the bottom floor, and so there's certain things you do that are fundamentally part of who you are or what you are, and they certainly Barry did a great job of establishing that as a football coach, and I think I don't want to read too far into it, but I think the 2 successors have both been smart enough to say, hey, this has been a pretty good formula here for quite a while, and you're not going to get too far off that path.
Is it comforting in any sense that you have 3 senior linebackers to go against this running game they have?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice having 3 seniors that are good players, for sure, against any attack. And last week they had to be very active and involved. And now Chris will actually play nearer the ball, closer to the football this week for not the whole game, but a lot of the game, which, he's more of a DB a lot of times. So it's a very different style for us. That's going to be a big transition for us on both sides of the football. These guys are very different than the offensive teams we've played the last couple of weeks, and then very different defensively too, obviously, with the 34 scheme. But having 3 good linebackers is great, and they've got some pretty good linebackers too, which I'm sure they feel good about.
There have been stories, and will be stories this week, about Gordon and the decommit, et cetera, and it's a natural story. But you've had players who decommitted from elsewhere. You've lost recruits who decommitted. It happens everywhere. Is it something that you just accept as part of the coaching game and let it roll off your back, or are there times when it really does hurt?
No, I think exactly. That's why they have national letter of intents and signing days. And to me, the issue is early signing. I think that's probably the best solution. And because unless somebody signs a letter of intent, there's no contract. So it's just the way recruiting is, and I certainly don't think it's ever a surprise when a good home state player stays in his home state if they have a good program. I think that's exactly what happened, and he was a guy that we liked an awful lot in the recruiting process, and we still like him an awful lot. I'm sure he's still a great young man. He's obviously a very good football player, and that's part of the recruiting deal. And, it's kind of like bad breaks or injuries. If you can't deal with those kind of things, you probably ought to do something else. You can go to the NFL. They do have contracts in the NFL that are binding. But letters of intent are binding, too, for the most part.
What do you remember from that game against Wisconsin in 2010?
We lost by a point. That's all I remember. It was disappointing, certainly. I like the one the year before better. Let's talk about that one.
You sense, Kirk, that
We've had a lot of games back and forth with them. I mean, the series has been a really good series, other than '99.
You sense that 2010 game, though, of course, the fake punt, and they also had a fourth and 4 in that last drive that they converted.
Yeah.
When you look at where they've gone, and you guys have kind of struggled since then, do you think it was a real kick in the gut, that game?
And we had 3 in a row that were really tough I think it was 3 in a row. It was a tough stretch, so you can pick any play, any instance out of there, but that was a tough stretch. You could have brought up the 2010 Northwestern game a week ago. That was a kick in the gut, too. I mean, anytime you lose, it's a kick in the gut. And, to me, all that stuff's ancient history, and it really doesn't have much to do with this game this year. A lot of these guys playing today were in high school in 2010.
So you don't think it lingered on into a season or the next season?
God, I would hope not. Well, yeah, I mean, that was 2011, a couple of years ago. I mean, that's ancient history to me right now.
Recruited James White and Gordon. Have they developed the way you kind of thought they would at the college?
I mean, yeah, we don't recruit anybody that we don't think can become a good player. And James White's kind of the forgotten guy in some ways. I mean, he had played with a really good running back, last couple of years. I mean, I don't know if there's been a better back in our conference in quite a while than Ball. Yeah, and now, Gordon's got great numbers, and rightfully so. But James White's been an outstanding player. I don't know if you want to call it in a quiet way, but they've had a good 1-2 punch for quite a while now. And, they always have good backs, and, boy, those guys are a good pair.
There have been some quickie sort of post-game handshakes among coaches in the conference this fall. Is that a notion that's old-fashioned, and is the game past, the good old handshake by?
I don't know if it's old-fashioned. I don't know when the tradition began. I don't know. And, it just seems like everybody tries to read a lot into it. I don't know if you're supposed to hug people, shake hands. I mean, I really don't know what protocol is. I can just tell you this. Me personally, I think it's uncomfortable before a game to talk to an opponent because we're both thinking about the same thing, I assume. Our team wants to beat their team wants to beat ours. And after the game, what do you say? If you win, what do you say? If you lose, what do you say? I'm hardly Pop Warner, but I've been doing this 15 years here now, 3 years at Maine, and I still have not found a good thing to talk about before or after games. So, if I were the commissioner of sports, I'd say, hey, let's just be, let's share our fellowship at meetings, which we do. We have a great conference, great coaches, and I've got an awful lot of respect for everybody in the league, and that's true of everybody that's been in the league since I've been here. It's a great league to coach in. I don't want to get in the comparison game, but I can't imagine there's been better camaraderie conference-wise than the Big Ten, and so I mean, but everybody wants to read in who likes who, or Sally's dating Joey, and all that stuff. It's all. I mean, it's just silly stuff to me.
The cameras are rolling in that moment. And
believe me, I'm not thinking about that. I just want to get the hell in the locker room, quite frankly. That's all I want to do. Win, lose, or draw, I just want to get in the locker room and be with our team, period. Maybe that's wrong, but that's just how I feel.
As the season goes, people are going to stack the box on you because they know you like to run the ball a little bit. Has that altered, or have you guys talked about maybe having to mix things up a little on first downs, maybe have to pass more?
Yeah, I know you haven't covered us in a while, but I mean, even when we can't run the ball, they stack the box. There's a perception. Imagine that, even in the coaching fraternity, I think sometimes. So, if you can throw it, you got to be able to throw it to get them not to stack it.
Is that what needs to happen for you guys in the second halves of games? The passing game needs to kind of come alive?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I haven't looked at statistics that way, but, I figured that was on the agenda somewhere. I'll give you a parallel in my mind. Like, how do you explain us having 11 penalties in our second ball game? I think it was. Pretty sure it was. And, we had 3 the other day. And I promise you, we have not done any drills on penalties, and we don't do up, downs, or laps when guys get them. Some people do, and some people find that effective. I don't know. But to me, it's concentration, and it's a mental thing. We had no false starts up at Columbus, and that's a tough place for an offensive team to play. So I think it's just a matter of, you got to concentrate your way through things. And, I know it's a fact that we've been leading every game at halftime, and it's obviously a fact that we haven't won every game. So somehow, some way, you just have to concentrate better. And I think the solution is in concentration, execution, than it is, doing up, downs, or laps, that type of thing.
I think this is your 4th time you've played a team coming off a bye week.
Just talk about playing at home against Wisconsin.
It's a trophy game, and we put a big emphasis on trophy games, and every game's a big game. But when you get that trophy, that means it represents a W for us, and we're just trying to take the next step forward and just keep moving on.
Talk about another top 10 defense.
Right. We're looking for. They're a great defense, and we're looking forward to playing them. But we just got to start our preparation today, and we'll end it after the game. So we just got to keep preparing and keep improving.
Is there anything you can from the other, Michigan State or Ohio State? Is there anything you can take from those games to help you in this game?
I think it's just all, we just got to do our things and do what we, prepare to do on Saturday, and just keep improving and, work on the smaller details and just, play together.
You're done. Just talk about the task at hand of playing Wisconsin.
It's a big trophy game, so, we got to make sure we stay focused and stay tuned, and don't listen to all the hype, and don't lose focus on the game, and just play our hearts out and play hard, because it's going to be a physical battle. So as long as we do that, I think we have a chance to be fine.
Talk about a very good offense. What are some of the keys for our defense against them?
Just get a lot of penetration on the D line. Make sure we do have a good job at that, and stay sound and back seven. Eliminate some of the big plays and stop the run game. And then that's one way I think we can work at and be successful.
What have you learned from the Michigan State, Ohio State games? Because this is the same caliber type team. What have you learned from that to take into this game to play Wisconsin?
Just keep fighting. It's another Big Ten game, and Big Ten games are it's a hard battle. So we just got to make sure we finish the game and keep fighting and stay together as a defense, and just play our hearts out.
All right. Let me get a couple of these questions out of the way. Just talk about the task at hand of playing Wisconsin.
It's going to be a very difficult task. Very good team, hysterically won a lot of games here in the past couple of years. Great athletes and stuff. So we're going to have our hands full. We just got to do what we have to do with fundamentals and stuff, being tough.
Talk about what have you learned from the Ohio State, Michigan State games, because Wisconsin's that same kind of caliber team.
I just think finishing games, we had to lead in every game for a whole year. We haven't been trailing at halftime once, so we just got to learn how to finish in games, and I think we've done that in the past. So we just got to, put it all together and finish the game.
Okay, we're good with that. All right, so I'm gonna just talk about the task at hand of playing Wisconsin.
They're a talented team. First off, they're physical. They're full of good players, and they have great coaching. Overall they're a good team, and you got to come bring your A game if you want to win.
Just talk about their defense is one of the top 10 again. So just talk about some of the things you've learned from the Ohio State and Michigan State defenses that can maybe help you in this game.
It starts with good players, and then to combat that, you have to play hard. You have to have a good game plan, which we probably will have this week, starting this week in practice. So you just have to bring your A game and make plays.
It's that border war that I know you're not from Iowa, but just talk about those border teams to Iowa, and just it's just the fans, the teams, everyone's fully involved in it.
Yeah, definitely. Being here playing Iowa State, they're not really a border, but they're right down the street. People will really get riled up for games like that around here, and it's another game. It's another Big Ten game. It's big for us, so we have to bring our A game if we want to win.
Let's change the subject. Talk about Hitchens going down and making a tackle in the Ball State game, his very first tackle he ever made. Talk about playing against the Wisconsin offense this week. Just talk about the problems they possess.
They got a big, strong offensive line. They got good, smaller backs that can hide in the hole and cut in and out. And those guys, they make great players, and that's why they have the record that they have, and they compete every week. And it's a team I look forward to playing. They're a great team.
I assume this is going to be one physical game.
Oh yeah. They like to run the power, try to get the running backs up the middle, get those big linemen leaning on you, try to punch you a little bit. And it's a game I look forward to. I feel like I'm a very physical player, and I feel like our defense is very physical. I feel like it's going to be a good battle.
What have you learned from the Ohio State and Michigan State games to help you prepare for this game?
It's funny. I actually went back and watched those games this week and just seeing how I did against those guys, running the way they run the ball, the power and stuff like that. And I felt like I did pretty well, but, they possess a different challenge. These guys, 6'6", 320, guys about my size, and haven't really seen that too much yet. But, I have played some bigger guys, but, I'm looking forward to playing these guys, though.
Anything else you want to add?
No.
Fine with me. Just talk to me about what kind of problems Wisconsin possesses. They're another one of those top 10 defensive teams.
Definitely, they're 3-4, which makes it a little bit tougher. A lot of teams you face the 4-3, so it makes it a lot tougher. And they're a good defense. There's a reason they've won a bunch of games. Their offense does a great job, but the defense also. That's who the offense is going to play. So we'll have our work cut out.
And then just tell me about the way the team's been coming together. Everything's been you've been on a positive roll.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the teams, everybody understands that we all want the same thing. We're all working towards that same goal of just getting a win every single weekend, and it's really special having 100+ guys working towards one goal. It's just something really special.
All right, thank you.